reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe at home? So that I'm counting days until the second glow. If you're gonna make a change, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around, just out of doubt the yells. It's all you need to do. It's all you need to do. Don't stop now. Reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe at home? So that I'm counting days until the second glow. If you're gonna make a change, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around, just out of doubt the yells. It's all you need to do. start. Don't stop now. Reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe and home? To the counting days until the second blow. If you're gonna make a change, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around, start to top the notes. It's all you need to do. It's all you need to do.
Good morning and welcome everyone back to We Are Tottenham TV for yet another Good Morning Tottenham. The running order for today, we're going to do a match review of the Burnley game last night, and we've got a few other bits and pieces to get through as well that are doing the rounds on the social media platforms. So last night, Sim, through to the quarterfinals. Not a vintage display, you got to say that, definitely in the first half, but I felt like Burnley is a hard place to go, and as much as we were getting frustrated, especially in that first half, I think you've got to be happy that we've come away with the win.
Of course, obviously, I think we deserved the win. I think by and large, we controlled the game. I think Burnley barely created anything yesterday when it comes to any clear-cut chances or any
We seem to be
openings.
saying that against everyone we're playing at the moment.
Yeah, I think defensively at the moment, I think ever since the start, except for that period where we were getting battered 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, apart from that period, we have been pretty solid at the back, even at the beginning of the season, where we everyone complains like, yeah, we didn't have the best performances and stuff, but we actually did have quite good defensive performances, and I think that's carried on.
Saying that Skip has played in every single one of those games
Yeah,
that we've looked defensively solid in.
He's been the anchor. He's absolutely been the anchor, and he has played in every single one of those games. And
is he the only one that's played in every single one?
Probably Højbjerg, I would say.
Højbjerg, Son,
Lloris,
and Lloris. Yeah, I mean they're probably the only ones.
Romero as well. He played against Chelsea.
Yeah,
but then he didn't play against Arsenal, and then he's played every game since then.
Yeah.
So
he's a massive part of it.
Also, look, we looked a lot better since with Romero and Skip in the starting 11. Our record's probably decent.
Yeah, and with Romero as well, he just looks whoever plays next to him good as well.
Yeah, makes him look
raise
a lot
their
better.
performance. You know what I mean?
Definitely, but I think maybe the performance yesterday's come up for a bit too much criticism, given the fact that we, by and large, were in control of the game. But in terms of us again looking like a team that can be on the front foot and create chances and really put the opposition under pressure, not be this slow team trying to move forward, then I think again yesterday didn't inspire much confidence. And in terms of Nuno trying to dispel concerns about his management, it didn't go too far in to really convince fans that the team are moving in the right direction in that sense. But I think in terms of Spurs gaining more control of games and looking at more solid and looking more competitive against sides. I think that's moving in the right direction. I don't think you could argue that at the moment, because I think we were, the way we were getting slaughtered, and that's kind of put aside for the moment. But still looking too laboured in possession, still not looking very creative and very sharp and very exciting when we get the ball. And we only look good when we're able to get the ball up quickly and the defence is unsettled. That's when we're looking sharp. But other than that, it's difficult for us to see where the patterns of play are coming from, and where we're looking to open up the opposition, and where the movement's coming. That's the biggest one. There's a big lack of movement from all the players when we're on the ball.
And is that a tactics thing, or is that a players thing? Like, what is that down to?
I don't know. I mean, you could argue it's both. I don't think the players are just not moving. I think look.
Do you think Nuno's telling them not to move?
I don't think he's telling them not to move, but I don't think they know where to move, or they're clearly not very clear as to what position they need to be in, and how they need to open up space. It's kind of like Nuno's just telling them, get the ball to feet and get Lo Celso or Lucas to dribble a bit and then find an opening. That's kind of like our tactic at the moment. It doesn't seem to be like pass and move and open up space. It's kind of like try and find some space, get it to feet to Lucas and get him to dribble, and then he'll open up the space himself.
You know, it was a big complaint under Jose Mourinho we saw in the press from The Athletic, and that the players didn't think that was any attacking training or patterns of play being trained. The only attacking tactic we had was get it to Kane or Son and let them do it. What's worse, that or this?
I don't know. At the moment, I'm not seeing anything special in terms of where the team is heading. I'm not seeing a team at the moment, I'm not seeing a team not playing for him or anything like that. I just don't see a team that are seem 100% convinced that the way they're playing is absolutely gonna be the best way going forward for this team. It just doesn't seem to me that they have that belief, like they're 100% sharp. Like you can feel it when players going for challenges and when they're moving forward, and when the players off the ball are darting into positions. We're not seeing that at the moment. We're just seeing on the ball, passing it side to side, little movement. When Lucas or Lo Celso get the ball, they're trying a dribble and they're trying to break the lines, but they're not. But they're kind of doing it by themselves, and it's it seems very. They're not looking for free men and lending the ball to them and getting it back, or looking for runs in behind. It's only really when we get the ball in the centre, pinch it off a attacker or midfielder, then we get it in space in the centre and get the ball forward. That's when we look dangerous. But other than that, it's like we don't seem to have a plan. I don't know what's worse.
It's so true, because like when you look at our attacking players yesterday, like you said, Lo Celso, Lucas Moura, Steven Bergwijn. I mean, how many times did each individually go on like these mazy runs and nobody was up there with them? And that's what they resorted to. They can't pass it because there's no one to pass it to. There's no one up there on their wavelength. I mean, Bergwijn countless times on the left-hand side, Lo Celso countless times through the middle, and Lucas Moura countless times all over the pitch, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I think when it comes for Bergwijn's case, I felt like with Bergwijn yesterday that he was a bit too desperate to impress. I felt like there was a few opportunities where he could have maybe passed it inside to Lo Celso or Kane, maybe followed his run beyond him, and then maybe got a 1-2 or kind of be more of a team player. I felt like he was very much in it for himself, like he had to contribute like a goal. He was like very singly focused on getting a goal or assist yesterday, and it led to him making wrong decisions in the final third, for like attempting shots when the shots weren't on, or trying to get crosses on his right peg when he could have gone down the line on the left hand side. Like, I think he was too focused on trying to muscle his way into the first team, or trying to stand out, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I think he needs to be smarter about it. He needs to remember football's a team game. It's not an individual game, and as much as you want to press individually, the way you're going to help yourself is to be part of a coherent front line, which is like fluid and creating chances, and not and not just trying to always force the issue. That's where it seemed very forced a lot of the time with Bergwijn, trying to go take options which weren't on. Whereas he could have maybe laid it off and then wait for his opportunity.
I think there were some times like that where he definitely could have made the better decision. But there were a lot of times where he was just fighting a lost cause, just literally just running with no one around him. And what's a player supposed to do when no one's coming up to support him?
Yeah, he's got. It's difficult, and there were a few times where that was the case. He was running down the left hand side. He had 2 or 3 men on him, and he wasn't and he decided to. Didn't have much support. He wasn't able to lay off to anyone. In those scenarios, you just got to do the best you can. But I think the majority was what I'm talking about. I think that was the majority of cases. I don't think it was the majority of cases he couldn't have held the ball up or found someone. He always decides to go alone. And I think that that's because he's had an injury and he's desperate to impress and get back in the team. And that's what you want, and that's his ambition.
He's been taking a lot of flack from the fan base on social media and stuff like that since the performance last night. Do you think that's warranted?
Sorry, who's?
Bergwijn.
The flack. I mean, he didn't play well, I don't think. So when a player like Bergwijn, who's rarely getting goals and assists at the moment, when he's not playing that well, he's going to come in for a bit of flack. I don't think anyone saying he should never play again or anything like that. Obviously, that's never warranted. But
Brain said it last night.
Yeah, I know. I mean, come on. Like, look, I understand patience is short in this day and age, but I really believe once Bergwijn could get going in that front three and really, if we can find the best way to play him, he can be good for us. I really believe that. So we just need to be a bit more patient with him, because there's a lot of circumstances since he's come. I don't think he's this terrible player that people make him out to be. He just needs that bit of confidence and a breakthrough to really see the best of him.
And another player who a lot of people paint a bad picture of, Giovanni Lo Celso. There's been a lot of flack coming in for him this season and last season for Gio. I thought he played really well last night. We both gave him our man the match from the game last night. Mm-hmm. Is he showing now that he can be the answer there in the middle?
Well, I don't know if he he did well yesterday. Did he do enough to oust Ndombele? We'll have to wait and see what Nuno believes. At the end of the day, we still needed Ndombele to come on to seal the win. But I think.
Do you think his performance last night was better than Ndombele against West Ham?
Probably, but I think he had an easier task than Ndombele did.
That's true.
Against West Ham. I think if you put Lo Celso in that, I think Ndombele against West Ham, I don't think he was terrible. I think he did some really good stuff, and he was again the only player really trying to do something different and ask different questions of that West Ham backline, and he came off a few times, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. But would Lo Celso have done much better? I don't know. It's hard to say. West Ham are a very solid unit. Lo Celso yesterday had a good game. I thought he, again, playing behind the striker, I thought he was the only one trying to take the game to Burnley and really trying to force the issue, trying to come up with something creative.
I'd say Lucas would be in that category as well.
Yeah, but I think Lo Celso had a bit more guile about him. He had a bit more trying to accurate final third passes and quick passing. Lucas had the dribbling. I think Lo Celso had the had the ability to break them down and actually find those passes in between the lines, which was really positive. And he was looking sharp. And I was really happy. He should have scored that chance he got. Should have probably got an assist as well when he played through Harry Kane. Was involved in the build-up to the goal as well. So I was happy with his performance. And it was interesting in the when Ndombele came on. Lo Celso was a bit further back, and Ndombele went a bit further. Well, it was a bit of a 4-3-3 actually when they both came on. And maybe that's a view to somehow getting them both in the side. But it's difficult to get them both in when you have Skip and Højbjerg there. Who do you drop? So it's difficult to know how exactly Nuno fits them both in.
I would like to see them play when we're playing a side against a low block side, something like that, at home, you know what I mean? maybe when Burnley come to the Tottenham Stadium, you know, put Ndombele, Lo Celso, and maybe one of Skipper Højbjerg in the middle. I think that could be a good option. But when we're playing a tougher team, you need both Skip and Højbjerg in there, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of our team, unfortunately. We need that solid base, otherwise we end up getting exposed way too easily. At least Skip and Højbjerg, they mask what in our team, how easily we can be got at in the back four. So we need them when we're playing against quality players, because they're the only protection we have. Otherwise, again, as we saw last season, it's just too easy to get into our back four and play around our midfield. Would I want to see Lo Celso on the weekend? I mean, I wouldn't complain about it. I think he's done a good job, but I think Nuno will probably just stick with Ndombele still.
I think Ndombele is just slightly ahead of him just now.
Yeah, but I think Lo Celso's had a few good cameos. I know Vitesse wasn't the best game, but I think he came on in against West Ham. Obviously, he only had 5 minutes, but who was it he came on against? Against Villa, he came on, played very well. He played a good game yesterday, so hopefully his performances are stepping up in the right direction. Yeah,
definitely. And one player I want to talk about is Harry Kane. Another poor showing last night. How do we fix this issue? I mean, do we persist with him? Do we take him out of the team for a game or two? I mean, what do we do?
I just think we have to persist with him. I think we have to, unfortunately, because if we're taking
if
Kane
Bergwijn
out,
was knocking on the door, we would have at least an option there.
If anyone was knocking on the door, we don't have any options. Yeah. It's like, fine, you want to oust our best source of goals for who though? I get it. Fine, you're saying Kane's not playing well, which I grant, and you want to take him out of the team. I wouldn't have so much of an issue with it if we had someone to come in who was also firing and playing well. But like you're saying, okay, let's put Bergwijn in. Well, he's not playing well. Gil's injured now, but what are you gonna put Gil in? Is he ready for that responsibility to get goals and assists, which is what we need? I'd much rather put my eggs in getting Kane better than dropping him for a sustained period and giving Bergwijn a run when he's never really he got one goal last season. You know what I mean? Like he's never proven to be a massive source of goals. Yeah, could he improve Son potentially? But the only way this team is going to move forward is we have both Kane and Son firing. Without that, then there's no chance for us. So,
yeah. But how do we get Kane firing? That's the point.
We need the team dynamic to be better. That's what we need. We need to be better in possession. We need to get him more involved. He needs to obviously up his game, but we also put the team. I think maybe yesterday having Son up front could have helped instead of Kane because of the space in the transition in those couple of moments. But the game against West Ham, I don't see Kane being out of the team and having Son up front with Bergwijn on the left helping in that situation. That's not what the problem was. The problem wasn't Kane up front. The problem was the structure of the team, not passing and moving and making opening up spaces and stuff like that. Obviously, Kane is part of that, but it's the team tactics and structure. They need more focus than individuals.
I get that, but in the past, last season, when the structure of the team isn't really working, Kane can still provide for us, and he's just not doing that at the moment, is he?
Yeah, because we know why. Because he's sick of it. He wants a better team structure. He can't carry the can all the time, and that's what he's been doing. He carried the can the whole of last season, and we'll still only finish 7th. You know what I mean? He had a worldie of a season, so
his best season to date.
And we know he's fed up because he wanted to leave. He's fed up with carrying the team all the time and not getting the reward for it. So he clearly wants to be part of a team which is actually structurally not just built around him coming up with something and everyone else gets to take a backseat. He wants more. I think he wants to stop carrying the team on his back and to expect him to always carry the team on his back. Obviously, he's a world-class player, but I don't know, is asking too much to all the time carry us. I don't know.
It probably is asking too much. It's asking too much of anyone, unless you're like Cristiano Ronaldo or someone
even
like that.
Even him. You know what I mean?
Right now he probably couldn't, but I think obviously in the past couple of years he has been doing that for Real Madrid, for Juventus,
yeah, but
and
come
all that
on,
kind of stuff.
no, come on. Look at the players he's had with around him. He's not been just carrying them by himself. Let's be honest.
He has done it at
not
certain
to the not
times.
to the level of that Kane had to last season.
You reckon?
No chance. The guy's had world class players all the time around him at Real Madrid, all the time. He's had some of the best players around him. How can you say he's just carried? I know he's been the best of them. It doesn't mean he himself has carried them.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
like how many times have you seen just Ronaldo just pop up with those goals as so important goals that that completely get them out of such bad situations? It's happened time and time again with Real Madrid, with Juventus, and now with Man United as well.
Juventus, he was a top goal scorer, but they only end up finishing fourth. He did well, but there's a reason why they weren't bothered about him leaving. I think they didn't seem that concerned about him leaving when he left in the summer. But in terms of for Real Madrid, yeah, of course he popped up with important goals, but it's not just him on by himself. He didn't like run past 5 players and
Yeah,
score,
but it wasn't
you know what I
Kane
mean?
by himself last season as well. He had Son with him. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
wasn't
Kane
just
and
Kane.
Son. It was Kane and Son together, literally linking together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult to continue. Also, I think teams have figured out.
Yeah, that's definitely
that's
true.
like how to they clearly you see with Kane last season it wasn't the case. He was able to drop deep and defenders weren't tracking him and he had space to play with. Now you see whenever he gets the ball, there's 3 players around him every single time crowding him out to make it even more difficult for him. So he needs to be even better. He needs to do even more than he did last season, and it's difficult. And when he's playing in a team where structurally we're not there yet. As a team, where he's in a part of his career, he needs to really start kicking on and winning some stuff before the prime ends. Although I still think he's got many years left, in my opinion. He's in a difficult moment, of course he is, but I don't think taking him out of the team is going to help anything.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who knows?
I just don't. I just don't. I'm looking at unless you're playing against a maybe on some like on Saturday it might, because we're playing against a team like United who need a win, so they're going to come at us and leave some space. And that in that kind of situation, having Bergwijn, Son, and Lucas attacking that space might be more effective. I can grant you that. But games like last Sunday against West Ham, I just don't think it would have helped. I think Son would have been just as crowded out as Kane would have been, and it wasn't just down to Kane being crowded out while we lost. It was the way we lacked any sort of threat against West Ham as a team, not just individuals.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our match review. Just before actually we finish, I just want to talk about the kind of what is it with Spurs? Why can't we put 2 passes together? Why is our passing so off? Like in the first half yesterday, how many passes did we actually put together in a row? Like I don't think we put even more than 3 passes ever in that first half yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we're very easy to play against. Very easy. We're not making runs in behind. Everything's in front of the opposition. We're very slow. There's no quick passing. Doesn't seem to be any. Players don't seem to know where to move. So it becomes very, very difficult as to breaking down the opposition. Then it leads to us not looking like we have a clue what we're doing on the ball, and it leads to us kind of looking like we can't pass it together as a team. And like as soon as we get the ball forward, it's like the team presses us, and that's it. We lose possession. It's like or we go long. And we have no way of breaking down the opposition.
Look, it's been a bit negative this morning, but let's finish off the review with a few positives from last night, because I thought Emerson was really brilliant last night. I thought he played well. Finally, we got a cross in from a wide position, and that's how we scored last night. I mean, why didn't we do that more yesterday? Why didn't we get it on the flanks? Why didn't we cross it in more?
It seemed when we made the subs, all of a sudden, we weren't just dependent on transitions and were able to actually play through the lines when Burnley were settled in their back 4. And that was quite positive. Emerson, I thought, defensively was great. Obviously got the assist for the goal. Could have done a bit more offensively in other situations when he had time to cross it and stuff. But I think in general, a really encouraging performance again from Emerson. I was very happy with him. And it seemed like once Ndombele and Son came on, it forced maybe Burnley to rethink they were caught in possession a few more times, and we were able to actually break them down once they were settled. And I can show you with a few screenshots, maybe.
Yeah, we'll look at that in a second. But let's just finish off this match review. Then we'll go into the clips. But the last few players I want to talk about is Sanchez and Romero. Because Sanchez and Romero, I thought absolutely brilliant last night. Like I said before, I think Romero really kind of raises the game of whoever he's playing with. I thought Dyer last on the weekend, Sanchez last night, and it's now which one do we persist with now, Dyer or Sanchez?
Yeah, I think at the moment we're probably going to persist with Sanchez.
You reckon?
Sorry, with Dyer. Sorry.
Ah.
Apologies. We're probably going to persist with Dyer because I think, despite his own goal against Newcastle, I think he's been in general playing quite well. Also, I think on the ball, he's more likely to when we're playing those long balls to the fullbacks. Dyer's going to be the more likely defender to find it.
Naturally, make us go a bit deeper if Dyer's on the pitch.
Yeah, you could say that. I think he can be quite aggressive, but he's obviously a lot slower than Sanchez, and doesn't have the pace that Sanchez has, which obviously allows us to play a bit of a high line. But he's also a bit more he's more comfortable on the ball than Sanchez is. So it's give and take, isn't it? At the moment, I think Dyer with I just think at the moment he's going to prefer the Dyer Romero partnership just for now. I think Dyer is also a lot more comfortable on the left hand side than Sanchez. Seems as much as Sanchez had a good game yesterday. So I think it's going to be
hard
Dyer
to take Dyer out of the team now.
Yeah, I think he's going to persist with Dyer and see how it goes. But I think Sanchez definitely didn't do his chances any harm. And yeah, I mean, would I say a back three is an option? I mean, that means taking out a midfield player, and I can't see who you take out. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're not.
I mean, one option.
Skip or Højbjerg,
the only one option you could do is play a back three and then play like how Leicester play, back three. Then three in the centre and two up top. That obviously means taking out Lucas Moura or Harry, or playing Lucas and Son up front and playing
but
Kane.
The wing backs need to be really good if we're going to play that system.
Emerson and Reguilon give him a lot more license to go forward. It could work, but it would be a lot of attacking responsibility for them.
All right. Well, that is our match review. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding the game last night. Let's get in to these clips, to the goal clips and stuff like that, which we'll review. So let's get into that now.
All right, so if we're going to review some of the chances we created yesterday, but again, kind of highlighting what we're good at, and also, again, how we struggle to create when these situations don't come about. So this is the first chance we created in the first half when Harry Kane was played through. Again, in the transition, Brian Hill actually was the one who picked the ball up on the right-hand side, nicks it off the Burnley player, plays it quickly to Højbjerg, who plays a very quick pass. Look how deep he is. He plays a very good pass, vertical, straight down the line, looking for Lo Celso. Lo Celso then is in acres of space, right in the centre circle over here. He's got Harry Kane running. Harry Kane's on his bike already. But that's only because look how unsettled the Burnley back line is. 3 defenders back. Lo Celso's got space to run into. He's able to slide that ball through to Harry Kane. But that wouldn't be possible if Burnley had 4 defenders back in a settled back line. Only because we caught them cold were we able to get through. Obviously, Harry Kane then has the opportunity to shoot, but it probably ended up going around there, didn't it? That was a terrible, terrible effort. Could he have cut inside? Could he have got even further down the left? Probably.
I've actually never seen Harry Kane score a shot more than that before, ever.
It was a terrible finish. But Kane, look at the space Kane's in. That is one of the few rare occasions we get him in that position, because
Kane's just got to take one touch to the left and just bang it roof of the net.
Yeah, you expect him. You expect him to that corner, even in the front post. But unfortunately,
like just tap it slightly to your left and smash it roof of the net near post.
So he just took it first time for some reason. But again, in transition we're good, but again, this is a chance in the second. This is Lo Celso's chance in the second half. Again, Sanchez nicks it on the halfway line. Nicks it and falls to Harry Kane over there. Harry Kane's off on just past the halfway line. Kane picks it up. Again, look at the space he's in. Look at the space he's in. He's got Bergwijn running on the outside. He's got Lo Celso running on the inside. He decides to play a great ball to Lo Celso. But look at the space. Burnley, again, only 3 defenders back, just like in the first half. We caught them cold. But we've caught. Look at the midfield. The midfield just our position. Lo Celso's through, but unfortunately he can only fire straight at Nick Pope, who made a good save. But why he's going with the outside of his boot like that? He probably should be. Like wrapping his foot around to go into the corner. I don't know why he's like. I'm not sure why. Because if you're going with the outside of your boot, it's kind of going away like that. You know what I mean? And that's always going to be a lot harder to score than going around the keeper. So
you need to put your laces through or place it in the bottom corner. You know, not the outside of the boot, inside of the boot.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this. He's left a lot of this part as well. This section of the goal pretty free. So he could have gone that side.
Yeah.
So he decides not to. But again, the two chances we created proof that we're only good at creating in the transition. But I want to show you something, because
show me.
Once we this is the goal we scored, right? And this was actually maybe signs of things improving a bit, because this is once obviously in Ndombele, who's like back here. He's off screen at the moment. He's like back there somewhere at the top left. He's off screen, but he's there. We've got Son on the left, Lucas in centre with Lo Celso making runs. But look, Burnley in a settled back line, right? Spurs actually playing it around a bit. There, McNeil is our position just behind Ashley Barnes here. And Dwight McNeil, he's over there. He's our position because he's not marking Emerson. Emerson's got a free run on the right-hand side. But this is one of the few times. Emerson's here on the right-hand side. He's got a free run. But this is one of the few times we actually built a move and were able to get the ball out wide, get a cross in, and actually score a goal when Burnley was settled. Because Kane gets a nice ball through there to Giovanni Lo Celso, who's picked up a nice pocket of space just behind the Burnley midfield in front of the Burnley defence. He gives it, he makes a little run and lays it off into Emerson Royale on the right-hand side. He's made the overlap. Burnley still, again, have a settled back line there. 4 defenders there, as you can see. But for the very few occasions that happened in this game, we have Kane, Lucas, Son, all running into the penalty area.
Yeah.
How many times did that happen throughout the game?
It took 60, 70 minutes for that to happen.
Yeah, it very rarely happened throughout the game. And so when Emerson does cross the ball in, over here, he's got options. Can pull it back to Lo Celso, he's free. He does cross it in. He's got Kane there running in. He's got Kane, Lucas, who's in a good position, and he's got Son. And when the ball does come in, obviously Kane's run forward drags this defender, making room for Lucas Moura. And if Lucas misses it, Son's also free. So it's not a coincidence that we actually scored from that situation. But it was one of the very few times in the game we were actually able to create an opening with Burnley's defence settled, and that's where the goal came from.
As soon as those players came on, as soon as Son and Ndombele came on, just something clicked in the team where we just started playing on the front foot more, being more creative, and actually going at Burnley.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened. And then it didn't even seem like it was like they did anything, these players. It was just the sheer influence of these players around them, making runs, looking for something to happen. So we need to persist. Then we need to.
But it was a lot. Also,
we need to play like that, like from the off.
But also, it was a lot quicker. Kane very quickly getting that ball into Lo Celso out wide to Emerson, and also how many times did we see Emerson or Davis on the overlap really getting crosses in the box and Spurs committing players?
None.
That was like the first time. Yeah, pretty much. We did fashion pretty much one more chance throughout the game, and again, Burnley were in a settled back line, and Spurs did create an opening. It wasn't quite as clear cut as the goal, but we've picked the ball up from deep. Again, Burnley very pretty settled. They got 3 men there. All their defenders are back. But Lo Celso's here. He rakes a beautiful pass, Lo Celso, out wide to Lucas in space. Again, McNeil hasn't picked him up. He's kind of not in his position. Lucas picks up the ball, drives past into this central area here. Again, the Burnley defence is settled. They're in a back 4 there, you can see. But again, but Lucas with that kind of space to run into. When he gets beyond the midfield, it's going to be difficult to stop, and it's all about whether he can either pick out the pass or get the shot. He obviously gets to the position where he gets to the edge of the area because he's so quick. The Burnley defence can't come out to him, so that's why he's forced them back and back. He could he have played in Kane there? Probably not. I think Kane's probably marked quite well, so I think he takes the right option of taking a shot, and obviously
Brilliant effort.
he takes a shot, and Nick Pope is forced to save. But that was the only other opening we were able to fashion.
Doesn't shoot like that more.
He should. He doesn't get enough shots off, does he? He's got a good shot on him and a good finish. So it seems like he doesn't trust himself, does he?
Yeah, but that was a really good shot. He got it down low, hard, really hard.
But he also had an option here. He could have played out to Son as well. But
I think he made the right decision.
I think so as well. But but it's more of a case of Spurs hurting the opposition and also having options when the defence is settled. And in the second half,
he even could have played a through ball to Emerson to get another ball in.
Yeah, could have played. Well, could have played it out wide there as well. So he had options. So just proof that in the second half there were occasions we were able to break Burnley down a bit or move the ball quickly when their defence was in a settled formation.
And it's also playing into the narrative again where we have one poor half and one good half again.
But I think it was more to do with the subs. I think we're able to get Ndombele and Lo Celso playing the balls quickly. That all came because Lo Celso was deep and played a brilliant quick ball into Lucas, and we were able to get beyond the midfield. Again, the goal came because Kane quickly plays it to Lo Celso, who quickly gets it to Emerson. He's able to get the ball in the box, so we get the goal. In the first half, we weren't doing those things. It was just so slow. Yeah. It was so passive. But once we got those progressive players on, we were able to hurt Burnley a lot more. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. I'm hoping, but still, we look much more dangerous when we're able to catch them in the transition rather than any other. And that's proven with the two best chances we created were through a transition.
Definitely. So that is our goal review. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought of those clips that we've just brought you and how you think. Do you think that the things are getting better? Can we start building more instead of just working on the transition? Let me know in the comment section below. But let's move on to the last topic of the day. And this is coming out of The Athletic. And they're saying, do you have an article about it, by the way?
Yeah.
And they're saying Tottenham are now open to the idea of letting Dele leave the club in January. I mean, I'm getting deja vu from last January. Yeah. Just before last January, it was exactly the same thing. But what's the article saying apart from that?
I'm just trying to get it up. My internet doesn't seem to be working. 1 sec. I did read it this morning, to be fair. It didn't say... There wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was about very similar to stuff to what we say about Dele, about why he's... why he's struggling, what the causes of it, what people say his struggles down to. And how the decline has been so stark and how do you overcome it? What's going on here? The internet's not working. I don't know what's going on. I can't get it up. What's happened to Dele? Look, in terms of Spurs being open to an exit for Dele Alli, it's no surprise for me that Spurs are finally open to that because his market is the market value for him is dropping like a rock at the moment. It won't let me do it. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe it's to do with that. 1 second, let's just disconnect on that. 1 sec. No, I don't know. Won't let me go onto it for some reason. Anyway. No, just won't let me do it.
But either way, I mean, Dele struggles. Does a team take a chance on him still?
I think you can get a team who
and what kind of team will that be? Will it be a Newcastle or someone like that?
Yeah.
Is that the only option for him now?
Pretty much. I can't see too many other options.
Or an Everton or someone like that.
Yeah, will Everton stump up the cash? I don't know.
What is the cash? What is the cash that we can realistically ask for Dele Alli, though? 3 years, no show for him. 3 years. It's a long time.
Yeah, I got it up on here on my phone. I don't know what his market value is in there anymore, like with Dele Alli, because he's been so like I don't know if you're playing him right, you have to realize where his best position is and where you have to build the team around him. So you need a team who are willing to do that. I'm not sure who that team is. Like if you go at Everton, you know they got Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin who now like to play centrally. If you bring Dele Alli into that. Can you give him a free role there? I without restricting Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. With Newcastle, I think you can almost kind of risk giving him a free role because that's kind of their best bet of getting goals and assists and stuff like that. But in terms of other teams, it's going to be difficult. I think Spurs are probably going to demand at least 40 million, I'm assuming. And will someone stump up that kind of cash for him? It's unlikely.
I don't think 40 million. I think that the max someone pays for him is 30 million. But I don't think anyone even sumps up 30 million. I think it's going to be more a loan with an option to buy, most likely.
Yeah, it's the only way, because teams will probably want to try before you buy with Dele because they want to know that they're getting a player who can actually play still.
Exactly.
And that's just reality. I don't know what it is. Maybe that new contract in 2018. Ever since then, he's kind of lost that kind of sharpness and that motivation. In The Athletic, there's a few snippets. They were saying Pochettino called him the best 21-year-old in the world when he was manager of Spurs. But in March 2018, he apparently the dressing room sources around Dele who were worried about his lack of shooting technique, really bad left foot, and his ability, his reliance on moments in games rather than actually being a consistent performer throughout the game. That's things that have continually been pointed out at him, and it's about how do you get those moments back. It's like the question before with Dele is how do you get him to be a consistent performer throughout those 90 minutes? Now it's just like how do you get those moments back? Because like that's all he had, and now he doesn't even have that. Yeah. And even in the beginning of Mourinho's tenure, when if you remember that great run he went on when he was scoring goals, but if you remember the goals, it was all again him running in behind,
late runs into
the box. That goal at Old Trafford was just a piece of brilliance, a moment of magic. But it wasn't like
the overhead kick against Ludogorets, these kind of moments.
But it wasn't like it was part of a coherent team performance. Like he was, playing through balls or getting beyond defenders from in the final third. It was more just like I remember the 2 goals against Bournemouth he scored, just 2 long balls from Toby Alderweireld, him running in behind and getting the finish. It was just a moment during the game where he was able to get free, but it wasn't like it's him in the hole like picking up passes or like manoeuvring himself. You know what I mean? It's just moments in games, and that's always been his game. But that's just dried up. It's completely dried up, and I don't know how you get that back without him having that spark.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's like both managers, it's been a carbon copy with Jose and with Nuno now. Both of them came in, put their arm around him. Both of them looked to play them from the off, and both of them took him out of the team quite quickly, didn't they?
Here's a paragraph from Dele. It says, a view about Dele is while Dele has always been immensely talented, there was an element to his game that was somewhat covered up by his goals and assists. Scoring in the biggest games meant that Dele became a player you couldn't take your eyes off, but he wasn't someone you could always rely on to look after the ball and perform every week like a Christian Eriksen. Dips in Dele's performances were not uncommon, even in those heydays, but they could be overlooked because you knew the next spectacular moment was never far away. That is simply just not the case anymore, and the deterioration of Dele's output over the last couple of years has been staggering. In his last 34 Premier League games, he has scored 1 non-penalty goal and provided 2 assists. In his first 3 seasons with Spurs, he averaged 12 non-penalty goals and 9 assists. 1 goal and 2 assists in his last 34 games. That says it all. That says it all about how it's dried up so dramatically for Dele Alli. Some sources put it down to the way he's been coached and not having the same freedom. Others believe he no longer has the hunger to keep making runs into the box like he used to. Perhaps injuries have had an effect. Dele is extremely fit and tidy enough to be a serviceable midfielder, but it was his end product that marked him out as such a unique talent. He's never been a specialist number 6 or number 8, which is why Nuno has moved away from using him there in recent weeks. There is also a theory that Dele has been unable to nail down a starting position since playing off Kane in those early years because he failed to adapt his game. Plus, there are questions over a series of technical deficiencies, such as a weak left foot, as well as a relatively poor shooting technique. Such flaws can be overlooked when a player is scoring at such a prodigious rate, but they become an issue when he isn't. It's a similar story with the flicks and tricks. It doesn't much matter if nutmegs don't always come off when a player is providing the cutting edge. But where under Mourinho and now Nuno, Dele's role has been about retaining the ball and keeping things simple. The returning to the issue of Mourinho will naturally irritate Dele advocates who believe that with the right head coach, he can still be extremely effective player. And of course, if it didn't work under Nuno and doesn't under Mourinho, if it didn't work out under Mourinho and doesn't under Nuno, who is a similar coach in some respect, that doesn't mean we can definitely say Dele can't be rejuvenated in the right environment. Do you still think the environment is hurting Dele? Do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think that excuse is just wears thin?
I think the excuse wears thin, to be honest. I really do. And I think that, it's been so long now. Like, the environment wasn't right in the latter stages of the Poch. It wasn't right, Jose Mourinho. It wasn't right in the Nuno tenure, or so far in the Nuno tenure. I mean, how many excuses are we going to give to this guy? You know what I mean? It's been so long now. And yeah, maybe we might have seen flashes of moments in the Jose Mourinho tenure, but it's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough for a player of his quality, the player of his stature. And I mean, I'm looking at now his market value. I know then it's not very accurate, but it's really telling. It's really telling.
According
because
to who?
Transfer Market. In 2018, his market value was 90 million. Yeah. Later on in 2019, went down to 81 million. 2020 went down to 72 million. Later on in 2020, it went down to 46 million. And then now it's 28 million. Or last May it was 28 million. Now it's 27 million.
Wow. And that's the story, is it, for his career?
That's telling. That's so telling.
And
in my
Levy
opinion.
must be shaking his head right now.
But I think that's accurate as well.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that's accurate.
He doesn't play like a player who's worth any more than that, to be fair.
Does he even play with a player that's worth that?
And not at the moment, you
know
could
what I
argue.
mean? You know what I mean? Like,
he's only worth that because of what we've done previously.
the only way I can see us getting close to that figure is a loan to buy. I can't see us getting that figure straight off the bat right now, even from Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle's our only hope. Hopefully they got too much money they know what to do with.
Yeah.
That's our only hope of getting that kind of cash. I can't see anyone, unless Pochettino really wants him again back at PSG, and maybe that's another way.
But, they wanted him last January, and with the year he's had again, on top of the years he's had prior to that, I think
But if
less likely.
Yeah, but if Poch is still there, he'll believe he can get that Dele back because because he's the one who got it out of him. So he'll believe however bad Dele's playing, he can get him back to what he was doing before.
That's why Poch is struggling to get the best out of Messi at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's still finding that right structure, isn't he?
Yeah.
And because it's difficult I've always thought it's difficult for Poch when he's a manager who's always built himself from getting these young players, young up-and-coming talents to expand every ounce of energy into the team and get those extra inches on the opposition. And to do that with Neymar and Messi, who are in their 30s, it's going to be very difficult. I always thought that would be difficult. That's never been the way he plays, and he has to obviously adapt to that, which he hasn't done the best job of doing. But he's not doing terribly. I think he's not doing awfully. It's just not. He's not winning every game 5-0 like you.
The media make a lot out of it.
He's not. Look. When you've got Messi and Neymar, everyone expects you to be playing like Bayern Munich, winning every game 5-0, but just being a walk in the park.
Last night.
apart from last night exactly. But it hasn't quite worked out like that just yet. But it just needs a bit more.
But they're still
bit more
flying top
time.
of the league. They're going well in the Champions League. I mean, it's
They
not
beat
like,
City in the Champions League, didn't
yeah,
they?
I mean,
Messi
they're
scored a
going
great
well. I
goal.
mean, they're top of their Champions League group, aren't they? Or they might be second because they lost to Club Brugge or whoever they lost to. That small
They drew
team.
to Club Brugge.
They drew to Club Brugge. But I imagine they are top still. So top of your Champions League group and still top of the league. I know it's only the French league, but still, it's like you can't really complain.
According a tweet here from the Extra Inch, who are a great podcast, Spurs content, they're talking about Dele Alli. They say Dele is going to go to a team that plays him up front and plays front foot football and he's going to magically start scoring and assisting again. Our fans will say, if only he had tried that hard for us. He needs to leave for the good of his career. Hope it's just a loan until we're good again. They've always been massive advocates for Dele Alli. I don't know if you've ever seen that on Twitter. Like they're always saying how the treatment is unfair and he will come good if we only play to him. But I get what they're saying, but does it ever get to a point where you can't just do everything geared towards one player? You know what I mean? You got to have a team, and if you need to do so much to cater to a player, it gets to a point where is it worth it?
Yeah, that's the thing. And yes, sometimes you do need to build teams around players, but I don't think Dele Alli's that guy. I do not think Dele Alli's that guy. Like we've said before, he's never really been one to impact games for 90 minutes. So how can you build a team around someone like that that's only there pretty much to produce moments? You can't build your team around a guy like that. You just can't. It's too risky. You need someone like you can build a team around Harry Kane because he provides quality moments throughout games, year on, year out, game in, game out, and the numbers absolutely back that up. Yes, Dele Alli's had a few stellar seasons for Spurs, but since then it's like flogging a dead horse really at the moment because the last 3 years, if you can't sit there and say that we can realistically build a team around Dele Alli, because what does he provide for us to do that?
Yeah. And I'm not saying, and I don't think it's because he doesn't work hard or anything like that.
He does work hard.
I don't
That's the
think
thing.
it's anything to do. That's the worrying thing.
No, exactly.
Yeah, the worrying thing is he does seem to be trying and he does seem to be working really hard and he still can't get it right. And he has, whenever the new manager comes in, when Mourinho first comes in, he has his great performances and he can't last. When Nuno first came in, he had some good performances and it just didn't last. And that's the worrying thing. The worrying thing is that he's had opportunities and he does work hard and he still can't get it right.
Great players find ways to get themselves out of ruts. This has been way too long for Dele Alli now. It's been 3 years, if not more. You know what I mean? So can you really consider him as as a great player? Is when he was coming through the ranks, when he first joined us, that 20-goal season man. Nobody could have imagined it was going to turn out this way so early on in his career. Mm-hmm. It's just absolutely nuts the way how he's actually fallen, how far he's fallen to what he was. And I'm struggling to find an answer for Dele Alli, and I think the only option is a loan to move away and refresh himself for a bit, either to come back or for us to get a good fee for him.
Yeah, I think a loan with an option to buy would help, and hopefully he does get that somewhere. And rejuvenates himself and maybe either comes back or we get a good fee for him and it's better for everyone to move on. But when it comes to Dele, I think it's getting to that stage. Nuno seems not interested in playing him anymore. And that is not a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. So that is the assessment on Dele Alli from the Athletic article this morning. So thank you for watching that. Let me just get through a few super chats before we go. This is from Vanessa7, says Dele Alli, full-time model, part-time baller. And he's just joined as a silver member as well. So big up Vanessa and welcome to the family. And there was one more here from Adrian saying Nuno proactively made subs during the game yesterday, which he doesn't do a lot. This impacted the movement and just made us better. And I completely agree with that.
No, he did, but I would say he did that because he had Son, Son and I know Lucas came on the first up. He had Son and Ndombele on the. What happened there? There you go. Sorry, got a cough there. What I would say about that is that it's I think it's more important to be critical of how we were playing without those subs and to be impressed by him bringing on Son and Ndombele when it's not going well. You know what I mean? We shouldn't need to bring them on to make an impact. And I understand if we were creating chances, then it goes a bit stale, and then he brings on Son and Ndombele. But we were never really doing that at all. It was stale all the way through until we brought them on. So
and this is like a common theme, isn't it? Every single time we play without Kane or Son, we're going to need them to come on to look good.
Yeah, and that's the worrying thing.
Theme.
It's a worrying thing. Yeah, we're so reliant on them. It's like it's poor. Look, I'm happy he made the subs early, like as early as he did, and we got the win, and that was good. But I wouldn't praise him for bringing on Son when we're struggling, because like, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean?
True. And big up Grandpa in the chat as well, and he's saying, watching the chat, best players yesterday were Lo Celso, Emerson and Lucas. It's possible the wind affected both sides as there were so many missed passes. And that's, I was saying something similar yesterday, wasn't I?
The wind, yeah.
Wind.
Windy game. Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, definitely hurt us. But no, joking. But look, both teams had to play with the winds, didn't they? So
yeah, but Burnley are used to that kind
they're
of
used to the
football,
wind.
you know what I mean?
I see, fair enough. Long ball football. Yeah, but look, we're into the fourth round. We're into the quarterfinals.
To be fair, we play long ball football as well.
Exactly.
Maybe we should be used to it.
Exactly.
We're just a better Burnley now. But look, that is our Good Morning Tottenham. Let me know in the comment section below any thoughts regarding anything that we've spoken about today. Big up to the 430 people that have been watching us today. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button as well. We'll be back for some player ratings very soon for the game last night. So like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.